On the world news tonight from Baba Bagide Imo Television, first the headlines. Tinubu'S Chicago University classmate speaks up, says he was teased for Nigerian accents. Shetima Bagudu leads stakeholders to design new economic reforms in Osun. Tinubu government gave each legislator 100 million naira, but asked hundreds of Nigerians to share one bag of rice. Adebanjo to Tinubu, Southwest needs federalism to end challenges. Ex-Lagos Governor Raji Fashola opens up on his exclusion from Tinubu's cabinet. I am Mori Rabila Lawal. The news in detail. A public affairs analyst, Durojaye Ogunsoya, says he was the classmate of President Bola Tinubu at the Chicago University. Ogunsoya in a chat on Monday said he graduated alongside Tinubu at CSU from the Department of Accounting and Business Administration in 1979. The president's academic records have been a controversial topic over the past few months. The authenticity of the university certificate presented by the president have been questioned by other political parties. Tinubu's academic records showed that he graduated from CSU in 1979 with a bachelor's degree in business administration, accounting and management. However, there are allegations that Tinubu, who attended CSU, is different from the current president of Nigeria. Ogunsoya speaking, the controversy over Tinubu's academic records also said people were only being mischievous and he has come to testify in his favor. We were in the same department, class and college. We met in school at Chicago State University, CSU, and we were in the same department, College of Accounting, Business Administration, with a major in accounting. We graduated together. He did attend the Chicago State University and he graduated in 1979 as I did. I'm here to testify that he did attend the university and he was a good student. People were being mischievous in the first place because he was a governor for 8 years. He worked for Mobile for several years and you are contesting that he did not go to university. How is that possible? I can't imagine how that is possible. Sometimes the president might be embellished, but that doesn't mean he did not attend university. Speaking forward, Ogunsoya said Tinubu, elected as a president of the Accounting Student Club at CSU between 1978 and 1979. He added that the colleagues often mock Tinubu for his deep Nigerian accent in the US. We were members of the accounting club in school. When the time for his election came, the president surprised me. There was a time he became the president of the club. Go and check it out. We were even laughing at him with his accent. He had a Nigerian accent and because of that we were laughing at him. He also said Tinubu was a sociable and ambitious person during his days at the university.
We don't know anybody who went to school with him. Well, here you are live in the studio. You actually did go to school with him.
Yes.
Now tell me about that. Did you meet in school or were you like buddies before going into the university, the application? Tell me about that whole scenario.
Yes, we met in the school, Chicago State University. Mm-hmm. And we were in the same department, College of Accounting, Business and Administration, with major in accounting.
Yes, yes.
With major in accounting. And we were in the same class together, and we graduated. He did attend the university, Chicago State University, and he graduated in 1979.
Okay, as you did.
As I did.
In 1979.
Vice President Kashim Shetima and the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, would lead stakeholders across the country to design new economic reforms. The federal government also assured Nigerians that the current economic hardship is temporary, saying that other reforms by the administration of President Bola Tinubu would start yielding results. This was disclosed at the 3-day 22nd edition National Council on Development Planning (NCDP) and Joint Planning Board JPB meetings held at the Center Back of Black Culture, Osogbo, Osun State. The Director of Special Duties of the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, Gloria Ahmed, explained that resolutions from the past edition have served as critical input in the National Economic Council. She disclosed that the theme of the 2023 edition is imperative for restoring Nigeria on the path of sustainable economic growth and development, and that Shetima would be in the Osun State on Thursday, September 13, to deliberate with other stakeholders on energy sufficiency and sustainable economic development, food security, human capital, development for economic growth, among others. Earlier, Permanent Secretary of the Commission, Nebo Olisa Anako, noted that Nigerians would appreciate the rationale behind the removal of fuel subsidy, among other reforms. He said the present administration is doing everything possible to address the hardship faced by Nigerians in the wake of economic reforms, which has resulted in the removal of fuel subsidy and floating of the naira. These challenges, which are temporary, will be over with time. I therefore want to use this opportunity to urge you to use your esteemed positions to aggressively sensitize the Nigerian public on the long-term benefit of these policies. Moving on to the next story. The Nigerian Labour Congress has insisted that the so-called palliatives provided by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led government are an insult to Nigerians, as each legislator went on with 100 million naira, while hundreds of thousands of Nigerians in each local government grapple with few bags of rice. The organized labor on Tuesday threatened to begin an indefinite strike should the federal government fail to meet its demands at the end of a 21-day ultimatum, which will expire in approximately 1 week's time. The workers' union said the proposed strike was necessary following the failure of the federal government to provide palliatives to assure the Nigerians hardship as a result of the fuel subsidy removal. The Nigerian Labour Congress said the industrial action, which may commence any day from the next week, would lead to an indefinite shutdown of commercial and economic activities across the country. Speaking on Tuesday, the National Assistant General Secretary of the NLC, Mr. Christopher Onyeka, said the FG was wrong to share a bag of rice to a dozen citizens, while reportedly giving 100 million naira palliative to each member of the National Assembly. The union had on September 4th handed down a 21-day ultimatum to the FG over the delay in sharing of palliative, saying it might be compelled to declare an indefinite labor action if its demands were not met. If the government fails to provide the appropriate responses to our demands, we encourage you to maintain your steadfast resolve. The same position and determination that fuel this warning strike will be crucial if we find ourselves compelled to embark on an indefinite nationwide strike, the labor body said in a letter to the FG. To demonstrate its seriousness, the NLC mobilized workers for a 2-day warning strike on September 5th and 6th, partially grounded social and economic activities in several states with banks, ministries, agencies, and departments closed to the public in some states. The NLC leadership had said the action was in preparation for a total shutdown, which would start at the expiration of the ultimatum next week. Giving an update on the planned walkout following the lukewarm attitude of the government, Onyeka insisted that the FG had absconded from the negotiation table, noting that it had also failed to meet the workers' demands. The union leader hinted that the strike would not notify the government before carrying out any action it deemed fit. It said we sent a letter to the federal government on September 4th, 2023, so by September 22nd, 2023, the 21-day ultimatum would end. We have made it clear that the federal government has abandoned and absconded from the table for negotiation. The government is no longer negotiating with Nigerians, and there is no good faith negotiation that is not going on. President Bola Tinubu promised Nigerians on his own on the television with the president of NLC, Joe Ajaero, that he was going to restructure the committees, but he did not do that. And since then, the committee have not met and there has been no negotiation that is ongoing. As it is, NLC is not negotiating with government, Onyeka said. The Assistant General Secretary said Nigerians were insulted by the inadequate palliative being given. He lamented, "Can you see the insult that a ward would share a bag of rice and government calls that a palliative? The FG is buying cars and houses of over 100 million naira for each person, and Nigerians are keeping quiet as if what is going on is a normal thing." NLC calls Nigerians to join hands together because they cannot do it alone. When NLC calls for action, people should come out. They should, because it is a collective effort to make the government yield to the desires and the interests of all Nigerians. Moving on to the next story. Notable Yoruba leaders, including leader of the Pan-Yoruba socio-political organization, Afenifere, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, the Director General of the Development Agenda for Western Nigeria, Dawn Commission, Dr. Sheye Oyeleye, Chairman of Voice of Reason VOI, Mr. Olushola Adekola, and Dr. Shegun Aino, on Tuesday urged President Bola Tinubu to restructure Nigeria, insisting that it will address the challenges facing the Southwest. They spoke at the Goke Omishori Annual Lecture, Goals 2023, themed Southwest Regional Integration, the Dawn Commission approach organized by the VOR in Lagos. The event was dedicated to Prince Nicholas Omishori. While they lamented the current condition of the Yoruba nation, the Yoruba leaders fingered underdevelopment, religious and ethnic disunity, the tyranny, the Omoluabi ethos and mockery of its traditional institution on social media as some of the challenges besetting the region. In his remark, Afenifere leader Pa Adebanjo said, the real cause of our problem is federalism and lack of regional autonomy, which is why the Dawn Commission is asking questions. Let me state that we have not surpassed the effort of our past leaders. We can move forward, but not under this constitution. The colonialists brought us together without our consent. At the time, the late chief Obafemi Awolowo told the colonial masters that they could not rule Nigeria under a unitary system of government. All the theories that Awolowo spoke against are still being practiced today. Let us forget aggrandizement. Let the president change the constitution to the federal system, where each region will develop its own people. Also speaking, the Director General of the Dawn Commission, Dr. Oyeleye, said, from our advantage and vantage point at the Dawn Commission, we should focus on 3 constitutional changes now. They include state police, amendment of the revenue sharing formula, and the introduction of a clause to allow states to collaborate for development purposes. If we achieve these 3, we would have unlocked the next growth phase of Nigeria. I know these proposals are risky ventures from a capitalist perspective, the most of all subscribe to. But then, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I admit that implementing and actualizing them will not be a walk in the park, but we have done it before and we can do it again. Without being immodest and to the glory of the selfless heroes who labored at the thankless but most rewarding venture, the Dawn Commission is perhaps one of the best legacies of Yoruba nationalistic effort. On his part, chairman of the event, Mr. Adekola, said, VOR was an initiative of the late Prince Goke Omishori, designed as an advocacy group, peopled by accomplished Yoruba intelligence to revive the nostalgia and reenact the glorious accomplishments of our revered late premier of the Old Western region, Chief Obafemi Awolowo of blessed memory. From that story, we'll go to the next one. It's coming from the former Lagos State Governor. For the first time, former Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has opened up on his exclusion from President Bola Tinubu'S cabinet. Fashola was a former Minister of Works and Housing under the administration of former President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. According to him, he does not need an office to serve in the government of President Bola Tinubu. Fashola spoke on Tuesday at the Lagos State University shortly before he delivered a keynote address at the institution's 5th Research and Innovation Fair. The former governor of Lagos State said there are not enough offices for everyone to serve in the government, adding that Tinubu's administration is birthing a new generation of leaders. I do not need a title or to serve. The president can only appoint at least one minister, for example, from each state in which he has done that, Fashola said. There are just enough places in power status. They are doing that, and we estimate it to be 200 million, so there are not enough offices to take everybody. All of us must play our roles as citizens, and a citizen does not need a title to serve. The biggest title you need is that of being a citizen and playing our role. We are also talking about the next generation. If some do not move on, where is the place for the next batch? The former minister said there is need to bring more outstanding public-spirited people to occupy offices as they evolve. Fashola said he looked forward to having a lot of youthful people being part of the administration. If you are just joining, you are watching the world news from Baba Gbagede Imo Television. Next on the news. The protracted feud between Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu and his estranged deputy Lucky Adedatunwa is taking its toll on the State Executive Council. There was apprehension yesterday among commissioners, special advisors, and other aides as the governor fired the deputy governor's aides. The governor, who last week returned to the country after a 3-month medical leave in Germany, may resolve the State Executive Council to weed out members who were suspected to be disloyal during his absence. Many aides are jittery over the expanded and impending reshuffle, which may take place immediately after the governor's return to Akure next week, a source said. It was learned that Akeredolu was sad that some of his aides caused serious tension in the state while he was away by sponsoring some reports that embarrassed the government and the ruling All Progressive Congress APC chapter in the state. According to a source, the Chief of Staff, Chief Olubenga Allen, and about 6 commissioners may be dropped for allegedly working against the interest of the governor. Akeredolu, in a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Richard Olatunde, announced the sack of Aiyedatiwa's media aide, Press Secretary Kenneth Odushola, Special Assistant New Media Okuniga Oladipupo, and Special Assistant Photography Abayomi Samson Adefalulu. The statement read added, consequently, all members of the press crew are to report back to their various ministries and stations. Equally, the Ministry of Information and Orientation is directed to provide adequate coverage for the activities of the Deputy Governor's Office henceforth. Sources said Aiyedatiwa's aides were fired for insubordination and flagrant disregard for appropriate authority. However, the embattled Deputy Governor, who said he remained loyal to his boss, attributed the brewing crisis to agents of blackmail bent on causing friction. While leaving for Germany on medical vacation, Akeredolu transmitted a letter to the House of Assembly relinquishing power to Aiyedatiwa as acting governor. The governor, who returned on Wednesday, is still in his Ibadan home, where he has been carrying out official duties. On Saturday, Speaker, House of Assembly, Mr. Oladimide, and Deputy Speaker Ayobami Akinroton presented a bill creating 33 local council development areas with the governor signed. However, the acting governor, who was accused of disloyalty by some of the aides of the governor, allegedly used the opportunity to fester his governorship ambition. The move by Aiyedatiwa pitched him against some governorship contenders and loyalists of Akeredolu in the State Executive Council. There is an informal agreement in Ondo APT to zone the governorship slot to Ondo South, where the deputy governor hails from. The agreed governorship aspirants are from the district. A party source who spoke on condition of anonymity said trust has broken down between the governor and his deputy. The camp of the deputy governor started misbehaving, thinking that the governor would not make it. Some actually thought that the governor would not return. It was even reported that the governor had died. The source also gave a detailed report about how the deputy governor ran the state in his absence, got to him where he was recuperating. On his return, Akeredolu declared that he will remain alive to complete his tenure, a statement believed to be a reaction to his rumored death or incapacitation. Finally, on the issues, colleagues of Akeredolu called him to tell him that his deputy was not loyal. Moving on to the next story. The force headquarters of the Nigeria Police Force has said that the policemen who were seen in the viral video brutalizing and stripping a man identified as Samsudeen Oluwo on the orders of Said Musadolua aka Ibile, accused of being a land grabber in Lagos State, have been identified and withdrawn. The Force Public Relations Officer ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, who made this known on X, formerly Twitter, on Wednesday morning, said that the police orderlies will be interrogated according to the order of the Acting Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, adding that the Lagos State's Commissioner of Police are taking action on the matter. This has been looked into. The IGP has waded into this for justice to be done. The policemen have been withdrawn and they will surely be interrogated. The CP Lagos has taken action on this, and I'm sure he will update us ASAP, as Adejobi said. Information are reported how Oluwo in a viral video narrated how Lagos Ibile of Amen Estate and Harmony Gardens, protected by police, invaded his sites with armed men and cultists, fired shots at people outside, beat him up and stripped him naked. Meanwhile, 2 legal practitioners, Yakubu Eleto Esquire and Shamsuddin Olale Esquire, representing Ibile, had claimed that Oluwo was a high assassin working for Babatunde Olalere, BOG, and Murphy Adebari of Tinubu'S Gardens. From that story, we go to the next one as regards the world news, Osun State. Perceived inter-court rivalry going on in Ilesha, Osun State may have claimed another set of casualties following the killing of two men whose identities were not available yet at Sabo Irojo Junction on Tuesday. The incident was the second of such reported in Ilesha, as two men identified simply as Machine and Skate were shot dead at Imo Junction on Sunday. Given further details of how the Imo killing occurred, a resident of the area who preferred anonymity had said the deceased was shot dead in front of a beer parlor. According to some eyewitnesses, the latest killing occurred around 2:15 p.m. during deadly clashes involving some rival cult gangs, after which two dead bodies were found on the road in the area. A resident identified simply as Tony during an interview with correspondent on ground. Another two people were killed today around 2:15 in Sabo Junction, Ilesha. The deceased were suspected to be cult members. Their bodies were picked up along the Ilesha-Akure Expressway by the police this afternoon. We all ran for cover when we heard noises from the scene. The killing is a continuation of inter-court rivalry going on in Ilesha area in the last 3 days. Policemen took the bodies of the deceased away in their vehicle. Osun Police Command spokesperson Yemisi Opalola, who confirmed the incident, said more men had been deployed to Ilesha to all the current spate of killings in the town. More men have been deployed to the community, but you know police operatives can't be everywhere. Two men were killed today again, but we are not relenting. Perpetrators of the crime won't escape justice, Opalola concluded. From that story from Osun State, we go to the foreign story. Turkey had sent 3 planes carrying search and rescue teams and humanitarian aid to Libya after heavy floods swept the eastern part of the country, the Turkish Defense Ministry said. We continue to deliver search and rescue teams and aid supplies to the friendly and brotherly country, Libya, the ministry said in a statement. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan also expressed solidarity early Tuesday with Libya. Turkey stands with the Libyan people, Erdogan said on the social media platform X, which was formerly known as Twitter. A total of 3,060 people were killed and 5,200 others were missing in the Libyan city of Derna after heavy floods swept the eastern part of the country on Sunday, said Libya's eastern-based Interior Ministry on Tuesday. The floods were caused by a Mediterranean storm that made landfall in Libya on Sunday. The storm also caused widespread damage to infrastructure and property within the city. Finally, on sports. The Super Eagles in the recent past has witnessed a huge influx of players of Nigerian extraction, born and bred abroad, and it does not seem to be slowing down as they keep pouring in. Recently on the queue waiting for the Super Eagles invitation is Germany-born Jonas Chimeze David. Chimeze was born and bred in Germany to a Nigerian father and a German mother. So as much as he is eligible to represent Germany international, also is eligible for Nigeria. Chimeze started football in the youth department of a club SV before moving to the youth system of Entrant Northwest in 2013. And here he was instrumental in matches against youth team of Hamburger SV, and thereafter moved to HSV youth department before the 2014-2015 season. Meanwhile, Chimeze has represented Germany in 8th grade football under 19 and under 20, having a total of 9 appearances. But now he feels it's time to switch international allegiance to his fatherland, Nigeria. And according to one of his representatives, the 23-year-old is anticipating a Super Eagles call-up. The feeling was that the departure of Janet Law portrays a bleak future for players like Jonas, John's representative said. But according to the football executive, that isn't entirely true anymore with the invitation of Torunarigha Jordan. Speaking further, it was discovered that Jonas is keen on getting his chance with the Super Eagles. Is just 23. On whether the youngster will give his best as a Super Eagles player, the representative reiterated that Jonas is now playing in his favorite position as a centre-back, so there is absolutely nothing to worry about as his best on the pitch of play is assured. Speaking on when the Super Eagles invitation might be, he said it might be now or in the future, but it will surely be at present. At the moment, Chimeze is on loan at Hansen Rostock, a club in the German Bundesliga's 2nd division. Nigerian players who were born abroad and have featured for the Super Eagles include, but not limited to, the following: Owus Abe, Osaze Odemwinge, Ademola Lukman, Olaino, Semi Ajayi, Alex Iwobi, Joe Abibo, Siri Dezes, and Calvin Bassi. With that sports story, we've come to the end of today's world news from Baba Gbagede Imo Television. Before we go, some major headlines. Tinubu'S Chicago University classmate speaks up, says he was teased for Nigerian accent. Shetima Bagudu leads stakeholders to design new economic reforms in Osun. Tinubu government gave each legislator 100 million naira but asked hundreds of Nigerians to share one bag of rice. Adebanjo to Tinubu, Southwest need federalism to end challenges. Ex-Lagos Governor Raji Fashola opens up on his exclusion from Tinubu's cabinet. And finally on sports, rock-solid ex-Germany Youth International ready to switch allegiance to Nigeria. For more updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is Baba Gbagede Imo Television. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Gbagede Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For ad placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen. For everything you do, either at tender age, grown-up age, or the hay age, beware of what you end to become as a legacy, good or bad. I am Morire Rebila Lawa.